Afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to this market snapshot. We're going to have a look at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD in focus this afternoon. We have got inflation prints coming out of Canada. CPI expected to see a contraction here, dropping down the year-over-year figure from 3.4% down to 3%. The month-over-month spot 4 down to spot 3. Now, it's probably a little late in the day now, only 40 minutes ahead. 40 minutes away from this release to start positioning yourself or play a card based on what's going to happen with these prints. We'd have been looking to do that tail end of last week and certainly yesterday to position ourselves ahead of this data release. However, it is worth having a look here just at dollar CAD, looking at some of the volume profiles and the way that it's shaped up, and perhaps some opportunities for a bit more Canadian weakness to come, which would be the expected result of a lower inflation print that's going to make the Bank of Canada slightly more dovish. Now, looking towards the profiles, really it all started from up here. We had this balanced D-shaped day at the top, and from there on out we've seen a sustained bearish pressure with the value areas consistently shifting lower. No overlap on these value areas, suggesting clear strength of this downtrend. Points of control also shifting lower, suggesting again sustained pressure. Now, once we got down towards the lows here, we started to see the first indications of perhaps some positivity, and that came twofold really. One, that value area at the bottom, let's just draw attention to it, this value area here. Had a fairly substantial overlap with the previous day. So just an initial sign that perhaps we're struggling to accept some of these lower prices. Now, it is a B shape with the majority of the volume trading near the low. However, in what was a very aggressive move higher, we can see this rip higher towards the tail end Friday afternoon during the American session. That move had the ability to break the previous day's high, which was a fairly substantial moment in this downtrend. So yes, a B shape, yes, volume on the lows, but value area starting to overlap, suggesting perhaps a slowdown in the trend. And we just saw that impulsive move had the ability to break through the previous day's high. Now from there, yesterday, we went into a P shape, point of control trading at a higher price. That point of control shifting higher than the previous 3 days, Fridays, Thursdays, and Wednesdays of last week's point of control. So a substantial shift towards accepting higher prices. P shape also suggesting bullish continuation, and this day also here going on to break through the high of the previous day. So a slight change of trajectory here and a transition from selling into buying pressure. That also supported the value area, that most recent value area of yesterday, also stepping higher and creating that all-important clean air between the two pro value areas. You can just see that from the high value area high of Friday into the value area low of yesterday. Clear daylight between the two, suggesting a pretty clear sentiment shift. Now, all of this, of course, happening ahead of potentially lower inflation prints. Now, too late, of course, to capture these moves, which would have been made for some nice trading opportunities yesterday and Friday. However, still the opportunity to perhaps capitalize on some of the longer term plays for dollar CAD. Now, in terms of a few primary analysis here, we've got a trend line, relatively clean trend line coming down through here, which is broken again, just supporting the fact there's more positivity coming into this market. But right now, the sort of most immediate roadblock for the longer term positions, looking at sort of a 1 week hold, something like that, is this key resistance, but it sits up and around the 132.30 region, and then we've got a relatively clean amount of air until we get up towards the 133 handle, that big psychological 133. Let's just put that in. Sits up towards the highs back here from what's that, 10th of July, which is a clear resistance level. Now, in the short term, today we're just starting to establish a bit of a short-term uptrend of higher highs and higher lows, again with another short-term resistance level just sat at 132.24 and around that region, just here on this 15-minute time frame. So a little bit choppy, a little bit awkward now ahead of this data release, but if we can see a nice low inflation print and a more dovish Bank of Canada coming to fruition, then we can expect to see perhaps a move up through this 132 32 region and continuation to the top side, and the profiles at the moment certainly supporting that. If we're going to be taking that position long through those highs, that's also going to be taking us through the high of that P-shaped profile that we can see there. So long's looking quite nice here. In order for this to happen, we're going to need to see some dollar strength come through, as well as Canadian dollar weakness, and of course the correlation with Canada ever present with oil. So we'd like to see oil just dropping off the highs. Oil trading at $74 a barrel here at the moment. If we could see that move lower, that would also support a bit of strength here and upside for dollar CAD. Right now, as it stands at the moment, the Bank of Canada, 78% probability of a hold in terms of their next rate hike, their next rates meeting. Current interest rates at 5%. Low inflation today should bump this probability much higher. I don't think cuts are on the cards just yet, but if it pushes the statement towards a more dovish tilt and a higher probability of holds and cuts into tail end of 2023 or start of 2024, then again that's going to open up a bit of longer term upside here, perhaps in dollar CAD. The one thing to be mindful of with this trading opportunity is that if you are to do this, you are going to be going back against what has been a fairly well sustained downtrend here. Just looking at the daily chart, we've seen some pretty substantial selling really from the highs back in March of this year. So you are coming back against this momentum, but profiles and fundamentals shaping up here for a reasonably nice opportunity. We'll keep tabs on this. We'll touch base later on in the week, certainly post this inflation print today, and we'll see how this market unfolds. Of course, be careful of that initial volatility and any spikes that are generated on that release. And then once the dust has settled, let's see if we can see a move up through 132.32 and some positivity perhaps come back into the dollar markets. Alrighty, that's all from me for now, team. Let's touch base soon and see how this market develops.